General Hospital spoilers, Michael walks in on Drew and Willow's second round of passion, last straw for furious husband? General Hospital, GH, spoilers reveal that Michael Corinthos, Chad duel, will remain in a tight spot when it comes to his struggling marriage. Since Michael still loves Willow Corinthos, Caitlin McMullen, and the family they've built together, it's been hard for him to know what to do. Michael still hasn't confronted Willow and Drew Quartermain, Cameron Matheson, about their hookup in the playroom, which he witnessed on the nanny cam. That's partly because forcing Willow to come clean would leave Michael feeling obligated to confess his own one-night stand with Sasha Gilmore Corbin, Sophia Matson, though he plans to keep her name out of it if he does spill. However, it's clear that Michael's concerns are growing about Willow's deep feelings for Drew. Willow already made out with Drew twice and then had a playroom romp with him, so she's been willing to put a lot on the line to explore their connection. Of course, Willow is now trying to focus on repairing her marriage so she can get her life back on track. That doesn't mean Drew and Willow will be able to resist temptation once it inevitably strikes again. It's easy to imagine Willow and Drew surrendering to another round of passion at some point. Drew and Willow might try to tell each other a final goodbye, only to let their feelings erupt and pull them into a second sizzling encounter. It's one thing for Michael to witness Willow and Drew stripping down on a video that he can turn off. It's quite another for Michael to actually walk in on his wife and uncle doing the deed. Could Michael catch Willow hooking up with Drew in person the next time around? Would that be the last straw for this furious husband? As much as Michael wants to salvage things with Willow, he can't just keep letting this go on. If Willow loves Drew and would prefer a life with him instead, then Michael may push her to be honest about that. Willow can't have both men, so Michael may force her to choose or decide for her by pushing for a divorce. This could be a wake-up call for Willow about how much she actually stands to lose if she can't put Drew behind her. Our GH predictions point to Michael and Willow's relationship issues getting even more complicated, so we'll bring you updates on any stunning news that still might be brewing. General Hospital spoilers say Michael will find himself in some tricky situations, especially if Sasha's pregnant, so stay tuned for all the drama. The Quartermain mansion was unusually quiet for a mid-afternoon. The tension that had gripped the family for months seemed to hang heavy in the air, like an uninvited guest. Michael Corinthos had just returned from the hospital, where he'd spent most of the morning in meetings with hospital board members. His mind was spinning with stress, but nothing could have prepared him for what awaited him at home. As he stepped into the grand living room, Michael noticed something odd. The house felt different. It wasn't just quiet, it was too quiet. No staff bustling about, no voices echoing down the hall. A flicker of suspicion crossed his mind. Shrugging it off, he headed to the kitchen for a glass of water. But as he passed by the library, a faint sound made him pause. It was laughter. Soft, intimate laughter. Michael froze, his hand hovering over the doorknob. He recognized that laugh. It belonged to Willow, his wife. His heart quickened, and his breath caught. Who was she with? Why was she laughing like that? It had been months since he'd heard her sound so carefree. Pushing the door open a crack, Michael's world shattered. Inside the library, Drew Kane and Willow Tate sat on the plush leather couch, their faces inches apart. Drew's hand rested lightly on Willow's knee, and her hand was on his shoulder. The warmth between them was undeniable, the kind of connection that couldn't be faked. They weren't just talking, they were sharing something deeper, something Michael hadn't felt with Willow in what seemed like forever. You always know exactly what to say, Willow murmured, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I don't know what I would have done without you these past few months. Drew's voice was low, comforting. You're stronger than you think, Willow. I just helped you see it. The way they looked at each other made Michael's stomach churn. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Had their friendship crossed a line? He'd trusted Drew, trusted Willow. But now, doubt gnawed at him like a relentless tide. Michael pushed the door open wider, his voice cold and sharp. "Am I interrupting something?" Willow gasped, pulling away from Drew as if she'd been burned. Drew stood quickly, his face a mask of guilt and surprise. "Michael, this isn't what it looks like," he began, raising his hands defensively. "Oh, really?" Michael stepped into the room, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "Because it looks like my wife and my uncle are getting very cozy." Willow's cheeks flushed red, a mix of embarrassment and anger. "Michael, stop. You're blowing this out of proportion." "Am I?" Michael barked. "Then why do I feel like the last person to know what's going on in my own marriage?" Drew tried to step in, his voice calm but firm. "Michael, let's not do this here. Let's talk." Michael turned on him, his eyes blazing. "Don't you dare tell me what to do. You've been circling Willow like a vulture ever since she got sick. I thought you were just being supportive, but now I see what's really going on." Willow's eyes filled with tears. "Michael, that's not fair. Drew has been a friend when I needed one." "A friend?" Michael laughed bitterly. "Is that what we're calling it now?" The tension in the room was unbearable. Willow's hands trembled as she tried to explain, but Michael wasn't ready to listen. Months of bottled-up frustration and mistrust were bubbling to the surface, threatening to explode. "This is the second time," Michael said, his voice breaking. "The second time I've caught you two together like this. How many more times do I have to walk in on my wife and my uncle having their little heart-to-hearts before I finally accept what's really happening?" Willow's voice cracked. "Michael, I love you. I've never stopped loving you. But you've been so distant, so angry all the time. I needed someone to talk to. And Drew was just conveniently there?" Michael shot back. "Funny how he's always there for you, but not for me." Drew stepped forward, his tone steady but strained. "Michael, I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Willow needed support, and I wanted to be there for her. That's it." Michael laughed bitterly. "Do you even hear yourself? You wanted to be there for my wife. Not your family, not your nephew. My wife." The confrontation spiraled into a heated argument, each accusation cutting deeper than the last. Willow tried to mediate, but her words only seemed to inflame Michael further. Drew, sensing that his presence was only making things worse, tried to leave, but Michael blocked his path. "You're not going anywhere," Michael said, his voice low and dangerous. "Not until you admit what's really going on here." "There's nothing to admit," Drew said firmly. "I care about Willow."